Hello, everyone. Good evening, I guess I should say. I'm a little late coming on, but that's because I am trying all sorts of different times to go live to just see what works for everybody. So we'll see how many of you are able to hop on live a little bit later in the afternoon. The only downfall is there's a lot less light coming from my windows, but that's okay. I will deal with that. So I hope everyone's doing magically. Last week on Tuesday LOA, Law of Attraction, we went over the 3 steps or the 3 parts to the Law of Attraction and how to segment those 3 separate steps to really transform your abilities to manifest. Today we're going to talk about the secret piece that goes into all of those steps separately, which I'm going to just call gratitude. But there's a lot of different ways to describe this overall blanket feeling, right? It's kind of this feeling of bliss, the feeling of already having that thing that you want that really magnifies that whole art of allowing. So that art of allowing is just progressive through all of those different steps, so that you're really putting yourself like I say, a rocket backpack on your back as you are manifesting. And it just propels you forward in an exponential rate. So your attitude affects what actually happens. And I'm going to give you guys some pointers on what to do when you're feeling a little bit less than grateful, a little bit less than blissful, and feeling a little bit funky or down in a little bit of a rut, which is easy to do. Like most of you guys know, I am pregnant. So you know that feeling you get when you try to slide on your pants and you can't. That's the vibe that I have been dealing with every time I go to put pants on. Even my most comfy pants and shirts and dresses have had that little bit of not working. So what did I do? I went ahead and went to my local thrift store today, and I went through and found so many things that made me feel more high vibe, that really put that blissful energy out there, because I was feeling a little bit less vibrationally matching to abundance and feeling happy in my own skin and all of those things. So going and flipping some tags and getting myself to try things on and being comfortable in some maternity pants really did flip that around for me. And those are going to be different for all of you guys, but it's really important to be taking action towards things that are going to make you feel like you're in a vibration that you can really match to at your end goal. So I did an exercise the other day in a journal that was prompted by Lauren Eliz Love in her Unleash Your Badass Business workbook. And it really went over, what are you going to drive when you are at your end goal? What shoes are you going to wear? What clothes do you have on? What does your house look like? What does your yard look like? And, I've been visualizing this end goal, my ranch idea, since I was really little. So it wasn't difficult for me to really tap into that end goal and to see these visions again and again, because that's something that has always been available to me, is to be able to really see that end goal and to know what it's going to look like, because I've seen it before. So it's going to drive my future husband, very nuts when we're looking for properties, and it comes down to that, because I have to have the one that I've seen, right? And I kind of had that situation happen when I was looking for this home that I'm in, but this is our starter home, so it was a little bit easier to be like, all right, that's fine. So you just kind of have to take things as they come. Now, I wanted to go over this with you guys as far as the gratitude. If you're having, now, I don't want to just generalize everything with manifestation to be a gratitude list, because that's just simply writing some things down that are just mundane things that just have happened in our experience that we've probably grown up with. But I read the other day that if you have a roof over your head, change or money, loose change in your wallet, a bank account, and a fridge, a refrigerator, you're in the top 8%. So I don't know about you guys, but that makes me feel a little bit wealthy because we know that we're not the 1%, but we can tap into being that 8%. Okay, so tap into that and really feel like I have a refrigerator, a roof over my head. I can probably find some loose change if I had to, and I have a wallet to begin with. And then really making space in that wallet for more things to come in. And making space in your home, which I'm kind of working on. You can see I've got some boxes and things over here to unravel. But it is working, right? It's slowly, the gears are turning, the wheels are moving. So tap into that and make sure that you're giving space and giving gratitude for having those wheels, for having a passion that drives you, for having a vision to your end goal, and then to really feel those feelings of what it feels like. For me, being at that ranch and seeing the horses run and seeing the forest beyond the trees, you know, I'm smiling just thinking about it. And that's what really gets me fired up. So if I'm feeling low vibrations, like I was earlier today, not gonna lie, we all have our days. I spent a lot of time creating a landing page, and that can be very difficult for a spiritual person to get really dive deep into techie stuff. It's very draining for me to dive into that and really like put 2 feet in front of the other and really like push that forward. So for me, that was a stretch of my day, a stretch of what I'm capable of really wrapping my head around. So I decided to go to the store. I didn't buy jewelry, and I could have jewelry on right now because I thought about that on my way home. I thought, oh man, all these cute new clothes I got, I need some jewelry to put on because that would just make that heightened vibration, if that makes sense. So your attitude really does attract everything. That state of bliss you can tap into just by, you know, counting the many things that you do have available to you that 88% of the population doesn't. I'm sorry, 92%. If you are part of the 8%. So tap into that to really make you feel a little bit more wealthy. The other exercise that I have for you to go over is that journaling exercise, which is that end goal. So imagine, pretend, put yourself in a situation where you're making 6 figures. What does that look like for you? What shoes are you wearing? What clothes are you wearing? What does your yard look like? You know, and maybe it's not 6 figures that you want to earn. Maybe you want to live in an RV and not have income at all and experience that. And that is totally fine. But we all have an end goal of some sort. And if you don't, reach out to me so we can find that, because I know that some people have a hard time with that. But your purpose is interlocked with that end goal. So mine being that ranch idea with a meditation garden and guided trail rides on horseback is really this retreat feeling that people can receive from coming from the city or from being a sorry, I've got like makeup chunking up. There we go. You know, having that stress of a high extensive job or extensive business and really taking time away from that to unplug and come to my space and experience this way of living is my end goal, and to have people be able to stay as long as they want, right? So it's this whole idea of recharging in nature and unplugging from the city life. And that's kind of always been what calls to me, because I have always felt out of place in the city that I grew up in. So I just always kind of knew I had this pull. I always knew that I had this end goal of being outside of the valley that haunts me, essentially, which isn't necessarily the case, because yesterday we talked about not concentrating on what we're running from, me being the city, but rather what we're going towards. And that's why this exercise is so important, so that you can tap into that visualization of what do your shoes look like, what does your yard look like, Where are you on a map? And those are things you can ask in the Akashic Records. So I want to make sure to remind you guys that that starts in less than a week. So the Akashic Records training is going to be 8 full weeks of course content and practicing and training within the group. It's going to be a separate private Facebook group, and everyone can practice with each other, and that's going to be part of getting your certification, is proving that you can have these visualizations. And it's a really good thing to start with yourself and start with that end goal, because that's usually something that's easy to tap into in the records. So I'm going to take a sip here. So you've probably heard not letting fear run the show, or not letting regret or limiting beliefs run the show. And so instead, we really want to make sure that bliss and gratitude really do run the show. And it's not just a gratitude as far as I'm grateful for the shirt on my back and the roof over my head, but more just like, you know, the Himalayan salt lamp. And the fact that I can choose my clothes. I don't have someone choosing my clothes for me. I don't have people telling me what to eat. I'm able to make so many choices and have these choices to really redirect my life and feel that feeling of that grateful attitude at your core. Rather than just listing it all down, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you're tapping into. It just means that you're able to make a list. So you want to choose things for that list that are going to make you feel overwhelmed with a certain feeling. And that certain feeling, more so than gratitude, is bliss and this happy, content, amazing feeling that will overwhelm you. And from that feeling of bliss, the next thing I want you guys to experience is blissful boredom. This is the next step as far as finding your purpose. This video is taking a turn to finding your purpose, which is fine. And it's really important, because if you put yourself at that end goal and really visualize what that end goal looks like for you, and you don't know what your purpose is or what your offers are or what you're going to be of service doing at that end goal, what you want to do is put yourself in that situation where you're driving the car, you've got the shoes, you've got the luxury bag, and don't hold back with that kind of stuff, you guys. That is not something to be ashamed of, to want a designer bag. It's not. And feeling that way, feeling like if I had money, I'd give it all to charity, it's just all going to go away, I'm not going to keep any of it. No, that's not the case. You need to be in condition to spoil yourself and to feel right about that, and to feel right about scheduling the cruise, and feel right about scheduling those plane tickets, because that's something that comes with being high vibration. And if that's something that you have a hard time with, putting yourself in a situation where you're able to spend money on yourself, there's self-love issues going on that you need to release and transform and protect so that you can transform into the next level. Take another drink here. So blissful boredom is what I call the step to finding your purpose. So you're in the high vibe state, you're in the most expensive house that you can even imagine, and go above and beyond with this, and then you're sitting there overlooking the most gorgeous view you've ever seen, and you're bored. What are you going to do with that time? You have time, you have money, you have the space, you have the clothes, and now you're bored because you have all the time in the world. So are you making jewelry? Are you creating paintings? Are you hosting dinner parties? Are you designing t-shirts? Are you designing underwear? Designer bags? Anything like this, right? Are you teaching? Are you studying? Are you taking courses? Are you providing courses? What is it that you want to be doing? And that will lead you to your purpose. That question right there is what actions you take when you are blissfully bored. And then I want you guys to practice being blissfully bored as much as possible. And that's a really difficult thing for a lot of people to wrap their head around, But how I used to facilitate this is when I would get home from work, I'd get off at 3 p.m. and I would walk through the door and just say, okay, I'm going to pretend like it's a Saturday, 3 p.m., and I have the rest of the day to do everything I want, which was always true. It wasn't a lie I was telling myself. I really did have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. But I always got in my own way and got in my own head to say, all right, I gotta fold the clothes, I gotta get the laundry in, the dishes need done, and then I need to do dinner, and then a shower, and that's it, I'm done. That's all I got. But when first and foremost, I gave myself the ability to be blissfully bored, I was able to create a more smooth sailing night, a more smooth week night, which was a difficult thing to really wrap my head around when I was in the position of working all the time. So, blissfully bored right here and right now, and then tap into what blissfully bored is going to be for you when you have your 6 figures or when you have hit those goals long term, end goal. So all the way back there. And then tap in and reverse engineer back to the now to see what it is you need to be creating to really facilitate that next step. Because what you're going to be doing as an action step that makes yourself happy, that puts yourself in a high vibration, that makes you feel tapped into abundance, that action right there is what creates the next level for you so that you can get to that end goal. So the visualization really has a big part to play in your next action step in the now. It's just a matter of reverse engineering. Hi Rose, how's it going, darling? And replay viewers, as you guys are watching, go ahead and say hello. I'm just talking about, and I might even go in here and tweak the description because I don't really like gratitude being the word that I use because I feel like it's such a buzzword in the spiritual space. There's so many other words that can really describe that same word and description, but it's more of a feeling, and that feeling that really gets behind your law of attraction technique is what is going to drive that forward. So if gratitude is just something that does not necessarily make you feel high vibration, it just makes you feel like you're writing a list, try this blissfully bored and really absorb your surroundings and say, I have paints in my closet, or I have beads in my closet, I have folders with workbooks that I could do, and really tap into how that feels to have all of these options. If it's gratitude is just kind of like a willy-nilly, doesn't really hit your core, then grabbing onto these abilities to change, the ability to make decisions, the ability to choose what you eat, choose what you wear, to go to the store and buy a new shirt, even if you're not in a perfectly high vibe financial situation and you're not showered in abundance right now, you can still go to, like I said, a thrift store. I just bought a bag, like a new purse today, for $2. It still made me feel high vibe. I don't care how much it is. I mean, I spent a good amount of money there, but I got a lot out of what I was buying. So it doesn't have to be extravagant, okay? A new piece of jewelry. Just going to the store and buying yourself a single meal that you can bring home and enjoy in front of a movie that you pick. That self-care is really so important because that self-care gives you this state of feeling protected in your own space and having these choices that you make that really put yourself first. And that is something that is so absolutely important, is that feeling that you get when you put yourself first. That's the vibration that I'm talking about, is that feeling when you're watching a love chick flick on Netflix and you have a tub of ice cream and you just took a crystal charging bath with all of your candles. All of those things are that vibration that I'm talking about. It might not always look and feel like gratitude, so I might change that word because it is a little bit of a buzzword. However, that is first and foremost what it is that we're trying to facilitate, is a state of bliss. So I will go ahead and switch that a little bit up to bliss. All right, you guys, I will see you all tomorrow for Akashic Records. I'm going to go ahead and do readings tomorrow as well. The time might be a little bit different. My sister's in town from Arizona, so it might be postponed or it might be early. So we might have another late night video or we might have an early morning video. We will check it out. But yeah, I'm excited for it anyways because I will be reading for you guys tomorrow. So go ahead and tune into that. And I will see you all tomorrow for Akashic Records Day. See you.